Welcome, everybody. Joe Tarnowski with ECRM, and I am here with two people from Datassential, Marie Molde and Ian O'Neill, and they each moderated roundtable sessions during our food service virtual sessions. So what we're going to do today is we're going to have each of them recap some insights from their discussions. So, Marie, we're going to start with you, and your topic was sustainability. So, what were some of the key takeaways from that?
Sure. Thank you, Joe. I think a key takeaway for us is that our lives have changed a lot over the past 8 months, and a lot new influences have happened to food service. Safety was really important to consumers at the beginning and certainly still is, and kind of overtook maybe that thinking on sustainability for a while. But the general consensus from our team is that sustainability is still an overarching macro trend for their business, and it's really something they're thinking about. They're noticing that their customers and operators that they work with still want to be hearing about sustainability, and transparency was a really key element of it too, that they want to, if a company is taking action towards sustainability, they want that to be transparent and evidence to their consumers that they're working on it.
Gotcha. Do you think, and did you get a sense from your conversation with the participants that COVID might have actually positively impact the movement towards sustainability? Because, I know people are looking inward at their health, but also that kind of reflects, healthy me, healthy planet, so has there been an impact?
I think so, Joe. I think that overall kind of goal of doing good, not only for ourselves, but for the planet now, we're trying to be healthier. We're thinking more about how our impacts as not only individuals, but collectively influence the planet. So even though people want things like single-use plastics right now, more so than we maybe did before, I think the group did feel that COVID has escalated a lot of the conversation around sustainability too. And people are looking for things like, grab-and-go water bottles, not in a plastic bottle, but in an aluminum bottle, which is more sustainable. And I learned something that can be recycled in every state. So
To that point, I've seen in my neighborhood a lot, especially not so much now, but in the early time of the pandemic, when it was just to-go cups and everybody wasn't dining outside yet, that on the weekends you'd see the garbage cans and they'd be overflowing with plastic cups. But it seems to have decreased now. You don't see that as much.
Yeah, that's good. Good. Yeah, and I think definitely our participants thought we're moving that way, more toward a more sustainable future.
Excellent. Well, that's always a good thing to know. Good thing to hear. So, Ian, so plant-based, what we were, well, I know you opened with a little bit of data. So could you talk a little bit about some of the data that you shared to kind of set up the conversation?
So the thing that we talked about was plant-based alternatives, and plant-based alternatives, a lot of times they're very popular with younger generations who are the future consumers, right? So this interest is not just spurred on by health, which I think is the common thing that a lot of people think about. Eliminating meat is actually what is driving a lot of this interest, is just trying to eat less meat and more sustainability and things like that. These larger effects that it has on people and on the planet.
So it's more of a like moral or ethical kind of thing than strictly for health.
Absolutely, and like I said earlier, it also has to do with the fact that people feel better about if they have some meat-focused dish for dinner, they can eat plant-based for breakfast and for lunch.
Okay, well, I think what's going to be interesting is you have the plant-based, but then you also have the whole keto movement going on at the same time, and seeing people lean one way or the other. And like I had one friend that was a strict vegan for 4 years, and it was mostly for ethical, moral reasons. He just didn't want anything to do with anything animal based. But then when he went to the doctor recently, his numbers weren't too good, and the doctor actually said, you got to start eating some meat. So it was interesting where how that health versus ethical thing. I mean, I know it can be done, but
And I think that's a good point, because I think what we're seeing is kind of the future of health, different healthy lifestyles and diets. There isn't a one size fit all anymore. That was kind of, there'd be one or two fad diets running. Now there's like 7, 8. There's, you could rattle off 7 or 8 different kind of diets that people subscribe to now.
Mhm.
And so we think that personalization is definitely an important piece of, targeting consumers when their specific needs.
Was there anything new or surprising that came from the conversation, or maybe some new things that they're doing to kind of more strongly promote plant-based?
I think, one of our attendees actually made mention that, sometimes they view a lot of their plant-based offerings as loss leaders, but what it does is it eliminates the veto vote. So, if the family says, hey, we want to get this meat-centric, and one parent is, kind of on a different healthy eating path than everybody else, they still have an option because they have this alternative protein option on the menu. So it eliminates that veto vote, so that, it expands their menu to, larger parties and larger checks.
Great. So like if we all go to a steakhouse, we don't skip it because of my one vegan friend.
Steakhouses notoriously have very good vegan sides.
Mhm.
You wouldn't think it, but like potatoes are always good there, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and the vegetables actually too. You're right. You're absolutely right. So guys, thank you so much for moderating the roundtables and for your takeaways from each of them.
Thanks,
Thank
Joe.
you, Joe, for the opportunity. It was great.
Take care.